I've heard it said a lot that Commander Fox did nothing wrong in mortally wounding ARC Trooper 5s. And I gotta say, most of the arguments have a foundation of simply he was just following orders. Today we're going to discuss these questions. Did Fox do something wrong, or was he right? We'll look at the context of the situation and the greater picture, while also looking at the clones of the expanded universe and how they were trained versus canon clones. I'm trying out a new series where, rather than discussing direct, explicit lore, we're having discussions about the reality, ethics, and morality in Star Wars and its characters. Obviously, this won't interest everyone, but I think we can have some really fun conversations. Additionally, I'll be posting these in a podcast format on Spotify and other platforms since they won't be entirely reliant on visuals. But without more rambling, or maybe rambling of a different sort, let's get into the discussion. In one of the most tragic story arcs of the Clone Wars, ARC Trooper 5 uncovers the Sith plot to eliminate the Jedi Order using the Republic's clone army. It's probably one of the best moments within the show itself, and it shows both the skill of 5s, but also the hubris of the Jedi. Without getting into a discussion of why they didn't listen to 5s or why Palpatine was so bold in revealing the plot to him, 5's story ends with him being shot by one of his fellow clones, Commander Fox. This is where the debate comes in, with fans of 5s forever despising Fox and Fox defenders stating he was only following orders, or something of that nature. There's a number of reasons why a statement of he was only following orders is wrong, with one of the most primary reasons being related to our own history. World War II saw some absolutely unforgivable acts of violence. The war criminals that committed these acts would later be prosecuted during the Nuremberg trials. In these trials, Nuremberg Principle 4 stated that acting pursuant to an order of government or superior does not relieve a person of responsibility under international law, provided a moral choice was possible. Morality, that's the issue with he was just following orders. Something I was taught when I joined the military is that we have a duty to follow our orders, but we must be able to determine if they are ethical and moral. If we, as people, just do as we're told without question, we are liable for those actions. Now, instead of saying he was just following orders, we can look at the situation Fox was put in and determine whether he made the right moral decision. For one, let's put ourselves in Commander Fox's shoes, or rather his boots. He is the commander of the Coruscant Guard. His job, his duty is to protect the heart of the Republic. That includes the citizens, Senate, and Chancellor. Knowing this, as Commander Fox, you hear of a rogue clone ARC Trooper, one of the deadliest clones in the Grand Army, having nearly assassinated the Chancellor. This clone is reported to be unstable by the Kaminoans who created him, and highly dangerous. You discover his location. He's armed and has both Captain Rex of the 501st and Jedi General Anakin Skywalker trapped within a ray shield. You approach with your squad of shock troopers and surround 5s. You order him to drop the weapon. He aims it at you. You give him a second to change his decision, but his grip remains tight on his blaster as it points at you and your men. You make the decision to fire your blaster. Commander Fox shot and killed 5s. We already know that the following orders argument was wrong, but regardless, did Fox make the right call? Let's consider the facts. For one, ARC Trooper 5 is highly dangerous and one of the most trained clone commandos in the Grand Army of the Republic. Fact number 2, he has Captain Rex of the 501st and Jedi General Anakin Skywalker. Those two are legends of their own. 3, 5 has an armed and charged blaster pointed not only at Fox, but at his men, those he is responsible for. Considering these facts, I think he made the right call, as unfortunate as it was. Do I blame him for the situation? No, I don't. Chancellor Palpatine, Darth Sidious, knew he could spin 5s into a threat and make him look crazy, which in fact he did. Again, I would love to maybe talk about how the Jedi and Republic should have investigated the situation better, but that'll have to be a topic for later. Just know that Palpatine made everything in the Clone Wars to overwhelm the resources of the Republic and especially the Jedi Order. Now, obviously, you may still believe what you want or harbor hatred towards Commander Fox. That's totally fine. In a lot of ways, he's the ideal clone for what the Sith had planned. They wanted the troopers to be like him, loyal and dutiful to the Republic. Clones like Fives and Rex were the opposite of ideal outcomes for the Sith plot. Their relationships with the Jedi and the free thinking that Jedi like Anakin and Ahsoka encouraged were why inhibitor chips were absolutely required in making Order 66 happen. That's another video topic I want to do. Canon versus Legends Order 66. Let's get back to the main topic, okay? So how could things have gone different? Well, I think Commander Fox's approach to the situation was unnecessary and aggressive. It was not the ideal way to engage a suspicious and already agitated suspect. He had Fives surrounded. He had him outnumbered. He really didn't need to rush in there in that way. But again, if you look at it from his point of view, it's tough to say you would make a better call. In those moments, everything happens within heartbeats, and the right or wrong decision is like the edge of a razor or a lightsaber. Commander Fox is in no way my favorite clone. There's a long list before he shows up. However, I don't think people should be saying he was just following orders, because that's in poor taste and frankly a foolhardy defense. And I definitely don't believe he deserves to be blamed for the death of Fives. The reality was that Arc Fives was doomed the moment he found out about the inhibitor chips. The level of cunning and manipulation, coupled with the sheer audacity of Sidious, made it impossible for a clone trooper to ever uncover the plot. Just look at Kix of the 501st, the medic. He discovered Order 66 and was captured and put into stasis until the events of the sequel era. You're just a clone trooper. What are you going to do? I mean, look at Fives is one of the most well-respected clones in the 501st, in the Grand Army, and even he was considered insane. Now, Fives' sacrifice did allow for Rex and Ahsoka to escape the tragedy of the Jedi Purge and fight in the rebellion. At least we know that his sacrifice wasn't in vain, and I think that Fives would be glad to know that Rex and Ahsoka made it out and got to fight the Empire and help to save the day. That's all for the oddball opinions on this video. I hope you guys liked the topic. This is kind of our first discussion topic. I do also like just spitting off the cuff. Like right now, I'm not even on script right now. I'm just rambling. So if you made it this far, thank you. I've gotten better at public speaking, and I'm doing the air quotes because this is mostly just me talking into a microphone. But I think I've gotten better at that, and especially when it's a topic that I feel passionate about, which is this topic. I don't think Fives and Fox hatred towards either one, he was following orders. I think that's all just crazy. So I wanted to talk about it and see, just in a brief video, whether or not that made any sense. And I don't think that argument makes sense that he was following orders. I also don't think that clone troopers should be so robotic like Commander Fox. I think he has all the characteristics that the Sith wanted. They wanted soldiers like Fox to be completely loyal to the Republic and to following and maintaining order. Clone troopers like Fives and Rex and all of them are what happens when they're fighting alongside the Jedi and building those relationships. And I know they're like, oh, you can't build attachments in the Jedi Order, but it's different. There's a bond that comes from fighting next to someone. And I think that happened with a lot of the clones. And of course, without the inhibitor chips, they would have never turned on their clone commanders. Maybe some of the younger ones like Dogma, they would follow the order, but I don't think that Fives or even Cody would go with the order to do so. And I think that could be an interesting what if. Like, what if the clones didn't have the inhibitor chips, they got the order to kill the Jedi, and some of them, the newer ones that were kind of like rushed out of Camino, are like trying to move on the Jedi, and then you have a lot of the veterans, the older clones, fighting against that. Like, are the veterans going to outnumber the newer clones? Are they going to die fighting against their own brothers, trying to protect the Jedi that they've fought an entire war alongside? That could be kind of interesting. I would like that topic. I think there was in one of the books, I can't remember off the top of my head, it might be Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. There was a scene where some clone commandos got the order to kill the Jedi, and they refused the order. They ended up fighting Darth Vader and obviously dying, but they worked alongside their Jedi to help him escape. He escaped, and then some of them stayed behind and tried to fight Darth Vader when he showed up to see if all the Jedi were killed on that mission. But the regular clones, they committed with the Order 66 and tried to kill the Jedi. I honestly just don't like that as a story. I think it's more devastating in a way, but I don't think it shows the clones in the appropriate light. But again, wow, I just rambled for like an extra 3 or 4 minutes there. So let's end this video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Like this video, share it around, and join the Discord if you want as well. Please feel free to do that. I'd love to chat with you and hear your thoughts. Or if you want, just leave the comments down below. Have an amazing day, and may the Force be with you.